I rise today to present ACR 165, which will proclaim the week of March 18th to March 24th, 2018 as California Down Syndrome Awareness Week and designate March 21st, 2018 as California Down Syndrome Day. As the most commonly occurring chromosomal condition in the U.S., Down syndrome affects about 1 of every 700 births, nearly 6,000 babies each year. Down syndrome occurs when an individual has a full or partial extra copy of chromosome 21. This additional genetic material alters the course of development and causes the characteristics associated with Down syndrome. Down syndrome increases the risk for certain medical conditions such as congenital heart defects, respiratory and hearing problems, and Alzheimer's disease. However, since many of these conditions are treatable, they do not greatly diminish the quality of life of individuals with Down syndrome. People with Down syndrome also experience cognitive delays, but the effects are usually mild to moderate and are not indicative of the many strengths and talents that each individual possesses. For instance, many individuals with Down syndrome have overcome numerous obstacles to achieve greatness, such as fashion designers, public servants, and athletes, including Kim Chandler, who despite many being unable to execute simple muscle maneuvers as a child, became a 4-time national champion at the Special Olympics. Access to quality education programs and health care and a stimulating home environment and a positive support from family, friends, and community enable those with Down syndrome to lead fulfilling and productive lives. This productivity includes, but is not limited to, attending school, working, voting, advocating for the well-being of their communities, and contributing to the society in many, many wonderful ways. This resolution will bring much-needed public awareness to Down syndrome by encouraging the allocation of resources and advocacy to support the Down syndrome community. And I do have guests in 2 different spots. Up in the gallery, I am pleased to welcome several organizations dedicated to serving individuals with Down syndrome to the Assembly Gallery, and they include Down Syndrome Connection of the Bay Area, Down Syndrome Association North Bay, California Down Syndrome Advocacy Coalition, and Down Syndrome Information Alliance. These organizations work tirelessly to ensure the individuals with Down syndrome, as well as their families, have resources, support, community that they need for healthy living lives, and I am incredibly grateful for their work and advocacy. In the back, I have some very, very special guests. I have with us Eli and Jennifer Cooper from Berkeley, Marissa Erickson from Alameda, Nancy LaBelle, who represents Down Syndrome Connection Bay Area, who's from Danville, and then Toby Lynn from Folsom. I have my lovely wife with me, if she'll just wave her hands. And then I have an extraordinary, special guest with me today. I flew her all the way out here from the Midwest to be with me today to celebrate this and your support for Down syndrome. There's a little story about her. My wife and I were taking her shopping one day. We were walking through the central corridor of a mall. 4 young adults were approaching us, and you could see that they were staring in a very blatant way. My wife and I were thinking certain things and wondering what Sherry was thinking. This is what the Down syndrome community is all about. That extra chromosome they have, it's an extra chromosome of love. Because when they passed, Sherry looked up at my wife and I, and all she said was, "I think they like my dress." And Sherry, Denise, Grayson, welcome to California and welcome to the Capitol. Please welcome my special guest today. Thank you.